All right, you know what it is. It's your boy Kamal Hart on the chart, and we're going bar by bar. So, what do I see? What do I see right now? Little uptrend, kind of smooth down, kind of have two legs down. So there's a downtrend going on through here. Um, One of the first ones that I see is kind of this one, but you can see we don't get that many touches. We get 3 touches, but it doesn't seem like it fits the price action too snug. But you might see it like that. So we have a breakout and we're trying to make a move lower. Um, that's definitely the first line that I saw today. I'm going to go ahead and make it softer though, and I'm going to go with a different line that you can also look for. Um, so we definitely have this one, and it's breaking out. We're testing these lows, but another one that I saw is off these lows, like say right there. And let's see if we can fit that up here. And you can see up here, it still only has 2 touches. Just really hoping maybe if it was a little bit flatter, it wouldn't be a breakout there. So let's play it on the high side for now, and then we might scoot it down. And then coming down to where we are right now in the market, um, above, now we're below, move past the previous swing. So we got that line right there. Perfect. We hit right off that, right off this trend line. You know, this is a reversal pattern, 544. So you'd probably be around to see this trade off this high, little double top, and then this is a really, it's a really big bar. It's not actually that big, but once it broke below, I would have had a limit order or a stop right there. So I could see that trade being a good one. Pretty easy trade. And this is where I took my trade. I actually didn't do a great job on this trade. Um, when it when I entered, it was down here. It looked a lot more bullish, and then when it pulled back and closed, that's when I actually got my entry. Um, it doesn't look as good. So when I saw this, I kind of already know, oh man, I might not be in the right situation. But there's a lot of downward momentum. So I am expecting it to at least come test these lows. I just don't know if it's going to make that move on this particular setup. Um, but my thought process was basically it's a lower high and it's a second entry short to this low. So it's like first entry, it pulls back, there's a second entry. But it doesn't, it pulls back. I gave it some room. I was only in on 2 contracts, so I did have some risk to spare up to this high. Not really the way I want to be managing my trades, but I can give a little bit of backstory. Today I had to run around pretty early in the morning, so I only had 45 minutes to trade. So when I took this trade, I kind of knew that it's going to be one and done today. So I did want to give it room to work, but I know that messed with my psychology a little bit because I was a little quick to jump in because I thought, hey, if I hit this trade and I get my couple scalps, I'll be done. I only have 30 minutes, so that'd be good. But that was too early. And then my management is getting a little bit too loose. I should be stopped out right there. Based now, this isn't a great entry, but based off that entry, I should be stopped out right there. And I let it play out just a little bit. I just wanted to see, like, as long as we didn't break this trend line, like I said, I only have 2 contracts, so my risk, it's not huge, but it did make me a little uncomfortable. And then right here, we kind of have what I would call a better entry. This is the entry that I should have been waiting for right there. Um, Now that I look at it, it it's almost a second entry, but it's not quite a second entry. It's really just a first entry to the lows. If anything, it's a lower high and we're pretty near this trend channel. We'd be expecting it to test these lows and then expecting it to come to this channel if that's what's going on. Um, so I see that as a way better entry. And it does take some time. You can see how sideways it's going. I was just sitting through all that price action, waiting to see which way it would break out. And at this point, pretty much when I got that new signal bar, this bar, basically if we break above this bar, then I'd exit. That would be my signal bar. After that, I feel like my trade idea is done. And even if it continues to go short, I would still exit because I'm exposing myself to too much risk after this bar. So, but it actually does break below, and then I get my exit right there off these lows, which I could have probably held a little longer, but I had a specific target of, somewhere around this area, and once we hit it, I was out. So that's all I could trade today. I had to leave after that, so that was my trade. Um, Nothing here. It's just kind of sideways at the lows. It's not really where you want to go short. Now that looks really strong, really bearish. It's not a setup though, and if anything, the bar is really big. So I'd be nervous about entering there because that bar is just so large that it could really snap back and then trade higher. But when I saw this bar, I was like, oh man, this thing's about to take off. And it starts trending lower. At this point, you can see we have this congestion, a breakout pullback. So I don't really care to make this smaller channel too much, but if you were looking at it, there might be a channel, like an inside channel in there. And you can already see we're breaking outside of that channel. So I don't think it really helps you any, but I just wanted to point out that we had that kind of breakout pullback right there. And then right here, we have that failed second entry long, right? Off this high, went higher once, fails, went higher twice, and if it fails here, that's a failure pattern. But you can see that this bar is inside of this bar, which is inside of that bar. So it's there. There's a lot of downward momentum. We're not that close to the EMA, so that's an issue as well. To me, it's like a C plus kind of setup. I would not have taken this trade. In full transparency, I would not have taken that. But if you saw that and you wanted the risk, it's a relatively small bar. You should at least get that scalp. It takes a second, and then it moves lower. And it does come and touch this low side. And I like how it bounces pretty nicely off this low side channel. So that kind of makes me think that this is indeed the right channel. And then now it looks like we're just kind of bouncing off the low side. Here's that higher low setup. That's not really a good setup. It's mainly sideways, nothing there. And then let's really zoom in here. So here we're getting that failure pattern once it breaks above. And then you see how it broke above and then on a doji closed back inside, you got a scratch. So I would tighten my stop, one tick right there, and then move my my profit to break even plus one or break even. But once it closes back inside, that's telling you something. You need to be careful. And see, it would have stopped you out right there. But then it creates this pattern, and this is a second entry long. See off this high, first entry, second entry. It's a big, strong bar. At this point, it's very likely that there's at least a channel working up through here. So you can see we're kind of bouncing off that channel. And probably on the high side, we have something either on these wicks. I like using the bodies. So you can see that trade a little better. I like that trade. And it's like a re-entry pattern. It's a second entry and a re-entry because when this fails and then sets up this nice bull pattern, this is where people are really trying to get long. That ends up being a pretty decent trade. I like how we get some resistance off this high side. It's a good look. And then we end up pushing through though. Um, really, now that we're kind of extended, I would say there's two ways to look at this. It's either a channel extension. So this is our channel, and we just broke out of that channel. Or there is maybe an expansion, and maybe if we just take an equal distance, something like there, we might get some resistance off this line up here. It's not perfect, but you can see we definitely turn down in this area. It starts to respect it a little bit, but not particularly well, in my opinion. I would mainly be looking at this as a maybe even a shorter term channel, like right through here. Because really right here, there's another reversal pattern, right? Off this low, lower once, fails, went lower. See, it went lower here, but it never broke above until here. So that would have been the reversal pattern. I don't think I was looking for shorts there. Not to say there's anything wrong with going short there. I just wasn't really, all of this price action, what I'm expecting is a breakout and a move to a new low. So I'm not really trying to get long up here. I'm more comfortable getting long down here if I have a reversal pattern. I don't really want to get long up here. So I might have skipped that. If you saw that, you might have traded that. That's going to be, again, in my book, aggressive, but you might have traded that if you saw that. And we kind of working higher. So let's see if this channel gives us a better feel. And we'll just treat that as like it overextended. So we got another channel, a little steeper channel. We're getting a breakout right there. But you see how this breakout is really strong and we're above. Now we're below the EMA and we're killing previous swings. So let's just throw another line on the chart. Like that. Here's your lower high, but on this sort of breakout channel, I don't really want to go short there. Even though we're back inside this channel, I want to see a reversal pattern. And you would have got your exit, but I'm not in love with that pattern too much. And then here, that reversal pattern sets up, but we already have a break and a move to a new low. So this is just really a first entry to this low. It's a little sketchy going short there. I'd wait. Let me see if we get a lower high or a second entry short. And you probably get the scalp. Let's see, 25. Yeah, you get the scalp. So you would have got the scalp on this, but it's not the setup I'm really into. But here's a higher low off this low, and now I want to kind of zoom out and see, okay, what are prices doing? We have a leg down. Maybe we'll get a second leg down. It's getting a little confusing what's going on through here, so I would just be waiting to see. And then like right here, it looks like a setup. See how when it broke above right there, that's actually a reversal pattern. And now I feel more comfortable about this reversal because we got that breakout. It tried to make a new low, but it couldn't. And now it's giving us a reversal pattern that's above this EMA. I like that a little better, in my opinion. So I'll probably get another line like here and bring the higher side to this side. Probably enter right there as well. It's a good setup. I like how we're getting some resistance on this high side. Yeah, perfect resistance on the high side. That's a real good look. That was just a first entry. I think if you're being aggressive, you might buy that just because it's off the EMA and the trend line. It's just a first entry. The reversal was here. It's just an aggressive setup. It's nothing that I really would take, but it's there if you see it. Well, it didn't break above. I was going to say here's the higher low. It's not even technically a higher low because there hasn't been any new swings. So it's just kind of another pivot point or something like that. But here, see, we make a new swing. This swing is lower than this one. So now we have a new swing. And we got that first breakout of this channel. So let's see if we come to retest these highs or not. And here you get a higher low. Typically, this is an okay trade, but this is a really big bar. You'd have to enter on a limit order somewhere if you're going to enter this. So because it's so big, I'm skipping this trade. I just don't like how big it is. And it moves back. It would have stopped you out if you're following the management rules, only for it to go back where you expected it. And that's sometimes the game. You can't always prevent stuff like this, but the clue is just how big this bar is. This bar is uncomfortably big to be entering at a limit order. Now, you might have considered buying, once it broke above this red bar, you might have considered buying that because basically it's kind of like a failed break lower and a reversal pattern. So I kind of like that. It's a little aggressive because it's the same issue. It's a really big bar, but you have some room to this high if you enter on a limit, 40. Yeah, so, you know, you would already be out if you entered on a limit. And then you get out for sure there. So if you saw that, I kind of like that. But it's kind of, these bars are a little too big. I'm not really feeling them. And it's kind of continuing to move higher. So what we can do as well now is that since this is a new low, that's lower than this low, this is swing one right there. I think another smart thing to do, just to give us some perspective, let's look at, close is close enough in this instance. You can see it's pretty close, but I'll just do it right. So if we get a measured move, we're looking to hit somewhere up here. So kind of keep this on the right side. Then we get this pullback to the EMA. Once again, if it breaks above here, that's another kind of failed second entry short. Off this low, went lower once. See, because it went lower here, but it never breaks above until there. So this is just kind of one move, higher low. And then here's the second higher low. So it's also kind of aggressive, but I'd say that's the trade. What I would say is like this trade isn't aggressive. I just kind of forgot to change it. I don't think that trade's too aggressive back over there. Okay. But these ones are aggressive just because we've already had that breakout. We've already moved to a new high. It could break above and just go like reverse. So. And it almost does, but it gets you enough. And look how we get to this measured move. A perfect measured move, you know. I didn't even really know it was going to do that. It's just the market geometry. It works so often that you just, you know, you just put your lines where your lines go and you'll be surprised. They end up going right to those lines, you know, half of the time. Here's a second entry long, but I'm not going to take it off this high. First entry, second entry right there. I just don't like that. It's not off the EMA. It's definitely, we've had that break move to a new high. We had a measured move. You're going high at the longs. It's really aggressive to take this trade. I would just wait. You see it ticks one above. That's a perfect trap. You know, that's exactly what I mean by a trap, is like the people who are trying to go long there, you know, it's just the perfect place to get trapped. I wish I had more to say. Just, you know, just when you look at the context, you can tell where the buy traps will be and where certain sell traps will be. Sometimes, you don't always know. Here's a reversal, right? Off this high, went higher once, fails, went higher twice, fails. If you enter it on a limit, you're almost out already. Probably one more tick. I don't know if you get it. Okay, you get it. It's there. I don't think I would have taken it though. I'll mark it, but I don't I don't think I would have taken it. I want to see prices get below the EMA before I really commit to those shorts. Um, it hasn't done that yet, so I'd probably be real cautious of that trade. But since we're making that reversal pattern, let's just throw that on there. Something like there. See, it doesn't go far, so then you get this kind of like a double bottom. You can see there's a lot of stems on these candles. It's not that pretty in terms of what I would consider like good price action. So I'm starting to get really cautious about these trades. Like here's a second entry short, but it's so close to these lows. I don't know if that's a short you really want to take, and it didn't close as strongly as we would like. But you can see off that low, it's a little second entry short right there, and it would have worked, you know. So it's interesting to see like the setups that don't look good but still work. We got a good trade off of that. So it's aggressive if you take that short, but it's just so close to these lows. I think that's a little too risky. We get a pullback to the EMA, big bear bar, just a first entry. It actually is a reversal pattern. Double top right there. It's a big bar though. It's my only issue. It's a big, big, big bar. I don't know. I don't know how this trade does. Okay. Well, it never breaks below, so you wouldn't have been in, and it moves higher. So that's one of those trades that's set up. This one's set up, but it never triggered. So the price action sometimes lets you know when it's not the right trade. So you wouldn't have been able to get in regardless. But we were below, now we're above the EMA, and we're moving past previous swings. So let's go ahead and throw a line. Throw a line on that chart. Something like there. It's a strong bull move up. Let's get some context on where we're at on the day. You can really see it's kind of a range. It's like a little like a down move, and then it's just kind of ranging. There's an upward bias for sure, but it's pretty much just sideways. That's a first entry. Pulls back. That was our second entry, but the signal bar wasn't that great. I wouldn't have bought on that signal, so it would have just missed that one. And then you can see, right, we have our trend. It broke out. Look at that, two-legged move. One leg, pull back, two legs. It makes a new high, and then it closes below the EMA. It hasn't made a new swing point. Okay, right there, it makes a new swing point. So we'll throw on another line. I really like short-term trends. They help a lot. Just keeping you on the right side of trades. I'm sure I didn't use this at all today, but I'm sure maybe see like that doesn't help you much. That one will help you any actually. You know, maybe there. I don't know. It doesn't look that good to me. When it's not obvious, when the big channels aren't obvious, just use the short-term micro trends, and they'll keep you on the right side. You might not see the big moves, like right here, like this is a second entry long off this high. See this high? First entry, second entry. So you kind of miss certain moves like that, but it also does keep you on the right side when it's really like congested and nasty, like today. This had a nice leg down. Let's see how we set it up. Okay, that's our lower high, but it's not a great setup. Look at that signal bar. It's pretty much bullish. Let's see, it still went higher. Got to wait on that reversal though. Even though it's moving higher, you can see how we did make this higher low, so that's technically a swing when it moved past there. But I do want to see a reversal pattern or a move past this area, since on this leg, that was only the real swing. There's a hidden swing in here, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. So that's kind of what I mean. If you commit too early to this bullish move, you kind of trick yourself a little bit. Which you might have taken this short. Now that I look at it, I just don't understand if you'd want to go short. If prices are moving up like this, see how it's a two-legged pullback, one leg, pause bar, two legs. Then it gives you that nice bear bar. First attempt to go lower, that's a second attempt to go lower. Like I said, we haven't yet made a new line, so it still fits our context of looking for a short. I guess the only thing is that since it broke below, but the trigger bar closed pretty close to where you would expect it to close on a good signal. I don't think it's that aggressive. You just had to have been looking at it the right way. I don't think I was in that right mindset. But if you saw that, I mean, that's a decent trade. That doesn't last long, though. And technically, you're starting to get that reversal pattern, but it moved lower than this swing. So I would really just kind of start here and see where we go from there. And then see, we're going really sideways right here. It's pretty clear that we're super sideways. This is a double top. And so if it breaks below there, there's a reversal pattern when it breaks below right there. I don't really want to trade into all this congestion though, so I'm going to skip that trade. And it's a second entry short off this low. First entry, pullback, second entry. But like I said, all this sideways movement, we're at the lows. I'd rather see like a breakout pullback or something. And there's the breakout. Here's the pullback. This one kind of sets up in the middle as well. So it's not that great, to be honest. But if you're seeing this, it's kind of giving you like two chances to take this trade. I feel like, oh, it's already noon. Wow. I feel like price has really slowed down from, yeah, I mean, this is 11 right here. Yeah, it's like 12:12. I didn't even look at the time. So I'd probably already be done. I wouldn't really worry about this trade. But let's see how it does. That one's a big move, so that would have been okay. But it just gave you a lot of opportunities on this trade. They're at the double top, so that becomes a single top. So that's your lower high. Then this is the reversal pattern, really strong bear bar. You probably would have sold that. But that's the day. That's what I saw on the day. Some trades on the way down, some trades on the way up. Just kind of like a range day. That's pretty much all it was. Yeah, so it's been a great week. Tomorrow's Friday. One more day for the first week of February. And we're going to keep cooking. So until tomorrow, Kamal Hart signing out. Peace.